The battle brewing on the Missouri ballot. Voters are likely to see two opposing amendments, and the outcome could shape what ends up on future ballots. The group called Respect Missouri Voters wants to make it harder to change laws passed at the ballot box. The push comes after lawmakers voted to put an abortion amendment back before voters and scrap a sick leave law that voters had already passed. Lawmakers have also put forward Amendment 4, which would increase the number of signatures needed to get something on the ballot and require a majority vote in each congressional district to pass.
But if you're going to change the Constitution, you should be able to have broad representation throughout the state.
Politicians, as usual, have put another measure on the ballot, Amendment 4, with deceptive ballot language that would try to take away Missouri voters' freedom of the citizen initiative that we've had for over a century.
Amendment 4 is currently on the November ballot, but state lawmakers have asked the governor to move it to August.